Peace, everyone.
People and smelling French people, and if all these people ever get together, then these pigs that ain't flooding, they're going to be able to run into the lake. That's why they want to get rid of it.
Yeah, Malcolm, Huey, Bobby, Seal, Ella, Baker, Emmett, Till.
When I leave, you remember I said, when the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary, and you're going to have to keep on saying that.
Malcolm, Huey, Bobby, Seal. Police beating our ass every time we come out the house. They trying to kill us. That's how I feel. It's time to get in the
Peace,
field.
everybody.
How they beating our ass still.
One more.
Matter of fact, the better question is when we see them beating our brothers, why is we still? Why we ain't moving? Where the riot at? It's 2020. They still stand on the riot act. Sorry, champ, but it's quiet for that. To leave my gun in the house, I ain't buying for that. When we gon' start firing back, word to mother, and do to them the same thing that we do to our brothers. It's time that we stand up for.
All right, we're about to go on live with
keep black people from
the official
dying.
Grandmaster Jay. We're getting ready for tuning in. Have any questions?
Cause once it's on,
Make
it's
sure
on. Press aboard all the bullets. Them shits is
add
all
it in
gone.
the question box, okay? All right, here we go.
Can you hear me? I can hear. I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
You can hear me. Yes. I feel like I'm in the Matrix. I love it. I don't know what pill to take, the blue or the red.
Don't take either one of them. They the same team, came from the same pharmacy. I got something better for you than that. Instead of taking a pill, won't you just go ahead and take some time to say good afternoon to all your viewers?
Yes.
In case y'all don't know what has happened up in here, Rashida asked me to stop by. So I thought it not robbery, just to drop in for a few minutes and kick it with Miss Wallace. I am Grandmaster Jay, founder of the Not Fucking Around Coalition, the largest black militia on the planet right now. And on behalf of all my brothers and sisters of the NFAC and all the sisters and brothers of the rest of the melanated community, I bid you all a shalom. Rashida, what's happening?
Peace. Yes, I'm wonderful. I'm so glad you stopped in. I take my hat off to you because you have been just a major force, and I love it. I've always it is so funny because when I was growing up, I was like, man, I've always wanted to be like with the Black Panthers, and so I've always grew up that way, and always fighting for what's right. So when I saw that how you brothers were in your whole family, I want to call them family, was in the street with the whole armor and just everything. I was like, wow, this is what we need. Where have you been? Well, you know what? You've been where you need to be. So
that's an interesting question. When we went down to the Wendy's in Atlanta, and I took about, and it's funny how our people never get to hear the true story. We always got to hear his story. Y'all stay with me now. Let me unpack his story. This is our story. Our story was that after we scared the shit out of the KKK and all of white America at Stone Mountain, that we got a request to come down to the Wendy's where the Rayshard Brooks was killed. So we went down there, and I only took about 50 of my best soldiers with me. And when we got there, the first thing, the young men that were out there holding the guns, that were trying to do their own policing because there was no policing, even though other areas had policing, the first thing he said to us was, man, what took y'all so long? Man, why y'all just getting here? Please show us how to do this. And when the people saw that Big Bruh had showed up with his bros, you could have seen the atmosphere change. Right. Everybody felt like we gonna be all right now. And I heard a young lady behind me say, I've never felt this safe before in my life around black men. Because we ain't no young cats. We your uncle in them. We the ones that stand up in the middle of the barbecue and say, y'all don't know how to dance, move out the way, and show you how we used to do it.
Right.
We had to come off the bench to show the youngins how it's done. So because of that, you know, it's funny that we were there, and then Rashad Brooks' sister was there, and she asked us to be her security escort down to Centennial Park. So we left. We were not there. We were so shocked to hear about the shooting that happened that the white folks try to blame on us. Let me help everybody out that's watching. In fact, it's not a terrorist group just because we black with guns. In fact, it's not anti-Semitic just because we black folks with guns. In fact, it's not a bunch of thugs, pimps, pushers, and none of that stuff they lying about us. What we are is a black militia that is here to protect black folks, protect black women, protect our black children, patrol our neighborhoods, and fight back against whoever attacks us. It's not just white folks, even though white folks is leading the lead right now, but it's not just the white folks. And if there's any white folks on your live, you tuned into the wrong live this time. You might want to click off and go somewhere else. This is family business right here. I don't know who told Karen to come to the cookout, but grab yourself a rib and bounce. And to Carl, who's sitting over there feeling inferior, don't worry about it, bruh. You gonna be all right. So I say those things to you to let you know that we went down there to help those guys, and people ask us where we've been. We've been coming for a long time. And I'm going to go ahead and let you know, because I know it's going to start. Instagram will mess with your broadcast because they've never done this to anybody, but anytime I start speaking truth, anytime I start to unpack, Rashid, they're going to come in here, they're going to cut it. Don't worry, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to jump right back in because I don't quit. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we're going to get into it for about an hour. I've already told all of my followers over on Facts Over Feelings and the Morning Mental that I will be hanging out at your house today. So don't mind if they show up and eat up all your food and run up your phone bill, stop up the toilet. And, before I go, look, you ever had people come to your house and y'all having a cookout and they go in your house and get some shit out the refrigerator that's not part of the cookout? And they like, I found these steaks. The steaks wasn't lost. There was no poster in the post office for the steaks. What are you doing in my refrigerator? Well, that's my followers. They here. I'd like to welcome everybody that came over on the official Grandmaster J page who's looking for their daily dose. We're going to break it off tonight. And remember, if something goes wrong, it ain't our fault. That's Instagram messing with us. But first of all, let me explain something to you. Defunding the police is an illogical idea. It would lead to total anarchy because you can't take something away unless you have something to put in its place. Just because the police are corrupt and the system is broken doesn't mean that all of a sudden we become good human beings. We are criminals by nature. We are evil by nature. We are self-hating by nature, and we are destructive by default. We are emotional-based creatures that if there was no deterrent, we would dissolve into complete anarchy. So defunding the police without something to put in place of the police is a stupid move. So since we haven't gone and done the homework yet of what it would take to construct our own self-policing model, okay? And there's actually two different models that we have to understand. People who don't understand policing, there's three things that you have to understand. There's what we call remote control model policing, which is what they do to you now. Somebody who don't live in your neighborhood, don't know nothing about what happened around your way, don't know that Miss Jones' family is crazy, don't know that you don't go around the corner on Edge Street after 7, don't know that this the Hostro. Them people don't know our hood. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So they trying to police us from a remote position. And here's what happened. It's what we call reactive policing. You call when something happens. They show up half-ass uninformed and act a damn fool because they don't know your neighborhood. Plus, since we've had an infiltration of the police by white supremacists and all type of other crazy-ass people, those people now, even though the job don't pay that much, they're psychopathic enough to enjoy the fact that they can kill you and get away with it. So what has happened is the system is full, it's corrupted, and it is broken. So because we know that remote policing will not work. Right. The other type of policing is what we call community policing, which is not reactive, it's proactive. You stop stuff before it starts. You got your ear on some. See, black folks, we got this thing that I know white folks, y'all gonna be uncomfortable up in here, but I did not come to make you feel good. And if you can't take it, then you need to bounce out the door. For everybody else, turn to your white friend and say, you got to go. Everybody else, listen up very carefully. What we're going to do is we're going to make it proactive. Y'all know how we got this talent when we somewhere, Rashida, and we see something about to break out. I'll be like, hey, let's go. Right. That's being proactive. White people, on the other hand, shit break out. They ain't see it coming. They walking around. They die. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit. I'm like, I can't believe your dumb ass stood there and didn't see it's coming. That's the same mentality that we have to have for proactive policing. You know what's going on in your hood. Y'all don't want to break the snitch code. We tell each other so we can figure this thing out. I grew up at a time when you couldn't come into the black community. You had to stop and you had to ask for somebody. Who you looking for? We looking for Rashida. Who? Rashida, don't play dumb. Okay, let me go get her. And we will come to your house, Rashida, the police here was happening. But you was with us. We had our own black police force, and we would take you to the white man. And whatever he was going to do, we going with you. You see what I'm saying? That model needs to come back. Here's why. We can still live under the same laws, though we need to change some of them. Right. But what we can do is we can also make sure that if we're going to abide by your laws, we got a hand in the policing of our own people. Here's the other rule. If you didn't grow up in this neighborhood, you can't police in this neighborhood. Period. That puts a whole lot of stuff to rest. But there's some other things that would have to be fixed before we can get to that. Even with the NFAC as big as we are and growing, we can come into your neighborhood, and yes, a lot of us are ex-military, not all of us. Some of us are just good people that are learning. We got all kind of folks that want to be in the Department of Corrections, ex-police officers. We like, you must be out your rabbit ass mind to think that I'm gonna let you join my organization after you set back and let all that shit happen, talking about, well, I was a good cop. No, a good cop would have stopped it. You didn't stop it. So I'm sorry, I can't in good faith let you into this organization for you to have a flashback. We're not going to do that. So make a long story.
They froze you again. I'm bringing you back. All right. There we go.
The same people who made Nick Cannon apologize is blowing up my phone right now talking about we're going to keep messing with you. No, I'm not apologizing for shit. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Exactly. And then if y'all don't like it, we're going to start shooting. All right? That's how that's going to work. Anyway, so the whole idea of community policing really involves us taking responsibility and ownership of our own communities and not being afraid to enforce the law on our own people. Now, hold on a second. There's another level to that. Because anybody can play the cop. That's what the cops have found out. They stupid. We're not stupid, but anybody can carry a weapon and detain someone. But we have to have people who are trained in criminal psychology so they can tell the difference between someone who's mentally ill and who needs help, as opposed to somebody who don't flip the fuck out because y'all shorted them their paycheck and they ain't gonna pay him, and the man told him to get out of his office, they done fired him and he about to lose it. That's different.
Exactly.
You got to be able to recognize, and you have to understand the dynamics of our people. See, we are loud people. We are animated people. We these people. That don't mean we gonna kill you, little scared white man. Plus, there's one other thing that we could ensure with community policing. We can ensure that everybody's trained correctly. You would be surprised how many of these police departments that we've gone into, and when that's why they don't want you to see their training files. Here's why. Because even though on paper it says you're excellent, 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 truth of the matter is we do our research and found out you failed every test that they had. You failed every task that they had, and they still graduated your ass. So you never really dealt with the situation for real until you ran up on that board, and you was already scared because, let's just be honest, there is a sense of inferiority. There is a sense of inferiority that's floating through the congregation from the white folks, and it's being pointed at us. The problem with that is I didn't make me this melanin man that I am. I didn't make Rashida the melanin woman that she is. It's not my fault that we can go outside and lay in the sun and glisten and make vitamin K and not burn. You ain't got to put no oil on. That's not our fault. It's not our fault that we can run faster, jump higher, see more colors, smell better, taste better, and do everything else better than you. It's not my fault that he gave me dominant genes and he gave you recessive genes. It's not my fault that I built the pyramids and had a civilization way before you were still crawling out the caves. Don't get mad at me. I showed up at the party just like you, but I'm not the DJ. The DJ set it in motion. So y'all don't mind. Can I talk this for a couple of minutes, please? I don't mean to take too much of time, but you asked the question. And now I got to sip some of this organic juice.